Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us on your Friday. I'm Sophie Erber. President Joe Biden may have been celebrating a victory inside the White House today, but outside on Black Lives Matter Plaza, dozens rallied, calling on him to grant clemency to a woman who is currently behind bars. KCAU 9 Washington correspondent Raquel Martin has the very latest for us now in our top story at 5.
Mr. President, we're calling on you.
Friday, Missouri Congresswoman Cori Bush joined dozens of women outside the White House to demand President Joe Biden grant clemency to at least 100 women currently behind bars.
We helped to vote you in. We helped you get there.
Bush says President Biden owes it to Black and brown families to erase or reduce the sentences for women and mothers serving unjust punishments.
It's about humanity. It's about building families.
To be without your loved ones, especially your kids, it is a pain that would never end.
Nicole Davis from Chicago knows firsthand. She was separated from her 2 young children for 13 years while she served her sentence.
When I returned home, they was 24 and 22.
She was originally sentenced to 21 years in prison on a drug conspiracy charge.
They are destroying family. It's too much.
President Biden has inherited a record number of unresolved clemency cases. In total, roughly 14,000 people are on the wait list.
On the campaign trail, President Biden vowed to use his clemency power to, quote, secure the release of individuals facing unduly long sentences for certain nonviolent and drug crimes.
And we're just asking him to stand on his word, give them a second chance.
The National Council of Incarcerated Women is one of more than 100 progressive or civil rights groups calling on the Biden administration to take action before his 100th day in office. In Washington, Raquel Martin, KCAU 9 News.
Here in Siouxland, a Sioux City man charged with murder is pleading not guilty. 36-year-old Roderick Banks made the not guilty plea in a written arrangement. Now, he is charged with first-degree murder in the death of Solomon Blackbird, also from Sioux City. Blackbird was fatally shot outside the Park Place apartments back in November of 2020. Banks was later arrested on February 8th in Alabama and then extradited back to Sioux City. His trial date is now scheduled for May 11th. A 3-judge panel has begun the process of determining whether or not a man will get the death penalty or face life in prison. This for the 2017 killing and dismembering of a Nebraska woman. On Thursday, prosecutors argued before the panel that 54-year-old Aubrey Trail showed, quote, exceptional depravity. This in the killing of 24-year-old Lincoln store clerk Sydney Loof. She disappeared after arranging a Tinder date with him. Weeks after her disappearance, Loof's body parts were found in 14 pieces in ditches along a state highway. Now, a defense attorney for Trail says her killing was not planned or premeditated and painted Trail as having endured child abuse. Now, it could be several weeks before that panel decides Trail's fate. As St. Patrick's Day celebrations start gearing up, Sioux City police are also preparing to enforce safe driving. During a press conference today, law enforcement officials said they'll have an increased presence around Sioux City. They will be keeping a close watch, too, on seatbelt use as well as distracted and impaired driving. Trooper John Farley with the Iowa State Patrol says it's easier now than ever before for people to find a safe ride home.
We've talked about designated drivers for decades. We've heard that term. But now with cab services, ride-sharing services such as Uber and Lyft, there's been no time in our history, again, that we've had so many opportunities to make sure that driving impaired doesn't become an issue.
Officer Andrew Duttler with the PD says that the police department receives traffic-related complaints the most out of anything from the community. Well, there is new guidance tonight for visitations in Iowa's long-term care facilities, and vaccine rates are now playing a major role. In addition to positive cases and quarantines working, for visitations in facilities with no COVID-19 cases, the Department of Public Health recommends more than 70% of residents are vaccinated before they open it back up. It is also recommending that the county positivity rate stands at less than 10%. View the full guidance on our website right now at SiouxlandProud.com, where you can click on this story on the free KCAU 9 mobile news app. Well, Iowa today has officially reached a great milestone in its vaccine rollout. 1 million doses have now been administered statewide. This comes less than 3 months since the first doses were even put into arms of healthcare workers. Data shows roughly 15% of eligible Iowans are fully vaccinated. About 40% of Iowans have received at least 1 dose. Registration for the next Siouxland District Health Vaccine Clinic will open up next week, and eligibility will be expanded to those at high risk for severe illness due to a pre-existing medical condition. Now, the clinic will be held the week of March 22nd at the Tyson Event Center. But there are other options for you, such as Hy-Vee pharmacies and Thompson Dean Drug. We have a link to all the area providers posted right now on our website. Again, that is SiouxlandProud.com. And it's time now for our first check on the weather. Another headline to kick off our weekend. Meteorologist Marcus Beasley standing by. A beautiful day. We saw the sun in most places in Siouxland. I know you did mention a little rain and change coming.
That's right. This weekend is going to be a bit different compared to the weather we've had for the last couple of weeks. Today, a pretty nice day here throughout Siouxland as temperatures, they've been in the mid to upper 50s throughout much of the day. 57 for your high in Sioux City, 55 in Yankton and Norfolk today, 54 in Lamar's and Orange City, a high of 50 in Storm Lake and Carroll. So again, a little bit cooler to the east. Overnight tonight, you can expect temperatures to drop down to the upper 20s and lower 30s. So it is going to be a chilly night tonight. I do expect clouds to continue to increase, and it does look like tomorrow is going to be a cloudy day, but rain, it looks to move in on Sunday. I'll have more details on all of that in the 9 on 9 forecast. Sophie?
All right, thanks, Marcus. Well, there's a new fire truck in Sioux City tonight, and it has some impressive stats. Sioux City Fire Rescue says it features an air filtration system and a 140-foot extending ladder. The aerial platform truck is replacing the 2004 model the station will now hold in reserve. City Council approved the purchase in 2019. Truck 3, as it's called, took about a year to build, but now it's parked at Station 3, where it stands ready.
We started this process a little over 2 years ago. It's quite a bit of investment in time and energy to create what we feel is a very nice product.
The department also received 4 new ambulances. They are intended for reserve use when the EMS system is strained. We've all heard that our thoughts and emotions can actually impact our body's physical health, but did you know a healthy brain needs a healthy heart? With more, here's ABC News' Alex Perchet.
Millions of American adults suffer from hypertension or elevated blood pressure. According to the Alzheimer's Association, hypertension is a known risk factor for stroke and heart disease, but it can also be a risk factor for cognitive impairment, including vascular dementia. High blood pressure can lead to blood vessel damage in the brain, which can increase the risk for stroke or dementia. Stroke doubles the chance of developing dementia, and about 90% of strokes are preventable. According to the Journal of the American Medical Association, anyone over 50 years of age who maintained lower blood pressures had about a 20% lower rate of developing mild cognitive impairment than adults with higher blood pressures. Since the number of Americans affected by Alzheimer's disease is predicted to nearly triple by 2050, significant measures must be taken to mitigate the risk factors for dementia. Daily exercise, nutritious meals, lower salt intake, not smoking, and, if needed, medications to lower blood pressure are all good ways to battle hypertension and decrease your risk of developing dementia. Do your part, protect your heart and brain by getting your blood pressure under control. With this Medical Minute, I'm Alex Perchet, ABC News.
General Motors has struck a deal with a lithium battery startup to help power its shift into electric vehicles. The joint development agreement with Massachusetts-based Solid Energy Solutions could help it cut down on the weight of batteries as well as the cost. General Motors looking to end sales of many of its gas and diesel-powered lines by the year 2035. Well, the migration of snow geese is providing quite the spectacle, why several people migrated themselves to witness this yearly aerial event. Coming up.
And today was another really pleasant day throughout Siouxland. It looks like Sunday's going to be a very wet day, and next week looks to be a bit cooler. Details on all of that after the break.
You're watching KCAU 9 News with Sophie Erber and meteorologist Marcus Beasley. This is KCAU 9 News at 5.
45 Wednesday with a 30% chance of showers, but by the end of the week and into the weekend, next week that is, it does look like our temperatures will warm back up into the 50s. So a little bit of hope as far as temperatures there in the forecast. And here's a morning sunrise sent in from Dakota Dunes. Just a really beautiful picture there. I love when the clouds, you have those high, thin cirrus clouds really reflecting that light, creating those awesome orange colors. thank you for that picture. And if you have any pictures to send our way, go to SiouxlandProud.com, click on the weather tab, and drop down to send us your photo.
I love when people do share sunrises because I am not frequently up then.
Yeah, I don't see sunrises in person.
Not on our night shift. All right, thanks a lot, Marcus. Well, when you think of a brewery, there's a stereotypical man that you might imagine working there, but a group of women are challenging that norm. We'll see how they're doing it one can at a time coming up, but first, many people's plans have been thrown off over the past year. Flocks of snow geese, though, staying right on schedule. We check in on their annual flight next.
How can you keep up with Siouxland's quickly changing weather? With the largest staff of meteorologists in Siouxland, with 5 newscasts and live updates throughout the day on air and online. With Siouxland's most accurate forecast, KCAU 9 Weather, we've got you covered. This is KCAU 9 News.
The past year or so, nothing has really been routine, so it could be comforting to see some creatures staying right on schedule, doing what they always do as they've always done it. Dennis Owen shares the migration journey of these snow geese.
It is pre-dawn, it is still, but it is not silent. Visitors also flock to Middle Creek.
Seems like a lot of energy.
For an annual air show.
I don't know how much energy it takes to fly.
Hundreds of thousands of snow geese.
Are they heading north on their migration? Yeah. Or are they heading south?
North.
It's still good. They're going north. Okay.
Pit stop on the Lancaster-Lebanon line.
What gets me is why do they all come here?
We had the lake for them to roost on. We're right in their flyway, and all the agricultural fields here provide for a lot of food.
The traffic jam on this Arctic Express is bumper to beak, and they sure lay on the horns.
They start talking a little bit to each other, like, are we going? Yeah, are we going? Are you sure? Are we going? And then the louder they get, the more you know that they're going to take off. You start hearing the thunder of their wings, and it's just like, and then you just see this mass liftoff that's just so powerful. The fact that they do that and not crash into each other is the most impressive thing.
Don't look up with your mouth open.
It's really hard to wrap your mind around what you're actually seeing because there's just that many birds.
They're actually flying right overhead. Typically, photographers from across the globe migrate here to capture this scene. But this year, the pandemic has clipped their wings.
Have the tree on the left-hand side of the frame.
However, Keaton Weaver made it.
Basically showing people what others really can't see, especially since the situation going on right now in the world.
I've had people, it brings tears to their eyes because it touched them so spiritually.
So peaceful. Well, brewery work entails a lot of physical labor, but it's nothing a group of women are shying away from. Why they bring a can-do attitude with them to work every single day, coming up. It is something rarely seen in the brewing industry. A staff made up of nearly 50% women. Claudia Sessa explains how they're breaking down the stereotypes.
Something rarely seen in the brewing industry is taking place at Greenbrier Valley Brewing Company.
They think of big, burly, beardy men because that's what usually the face of brewing is. But that's not here.
In fact, at the brewery, nearly half of their staff are women. Candace Perry is the canning line manager. While no one questions her ability at Greenbrier Valley Brewing Company, she says the questions come when she discusses her job outside of work.
In the brewery while we're working, no, but like when you go out and you talk about it, it's just like shocking to people that you're doing this and not like a man in your position, like because I'm managing the canning line. I do most of like the kegging and canning by myself or with like a crew. And they don't expect it to be from me.
Another worker, Samantha Fox, brings a different perspective to being a woman in the brewing industry. Fox is a student in the Bridge Valley Community and Technical College Brewing Technology program.
I'm the only girl in that program, and I'm the first one out of our program to do our apprenticeship. So when I finish up, I'll have my 2-year degree in brewing technology, and then I will also have a certification through the Department of Labor to be a brewer in the state of West Virginia. And I'm the first person to have that certification.
Fox and Perry both agree when discussing their work, people are surprised to hear they are women working in the brewing industry.
People don't expect it because it is a lot of hard work and physical labor. So it's just being mentally prepared to deal with that each day and coming in and having that attitude of like, I can do this.
Let's take a live look outside right now on this beautiful night from our tower cam in downtown Sioux City. But don't go away. Marcus returns with one more check on your weekend forecast. And before we wrap up here at 5, let's check in first with Tim for what's coming up at 6. Happy Friday, Tim.
Indeed. What a great way to wrap up the week, too, Sophie. Some sunshine today before it sounds like it might get just a little bit nasty over the weekend. Coming up at 6, some positive news today concerning the effectiveness of the 3 COVID vaccines in use. We'll take a look at the Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson vaccines coming up here in a half an hour. Also on the same front, another positive milestone today. Almost 95% of Iowa seniors over the age of 65 have received at least 1 dose of the vaccine, that according to the Iowa Department of Public Health. Also at 6, the Siouxland community of Hull is celebrating not 1, but 2 teams playing in the 2A Boys State Basketball Championship. Our Mallory Smith is just back from talking with community members about the rarest of sports feats. Her story comes up as well right after World News Tonight. And of course, we'll have highlights and the post-game reaction from guys that may live just around the block from each other, but playing for different teams. Jake's got that all upcoming at 6.
Heard it was a good one, too. All right, thanks a lot, Tim. Looking forward to that. And I personally am looking forward to the evening we have here on tap. Really nice weather.
Yeah, we're going to continue to see nice weather here tonight. A little cool, 34 degrees for your low. Clouds will increase. It looks like a quiet night, though. Tomorrow, 55 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. That rain moves in on Sunday.
Thanks, Marcus. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here at 6. And until then, good night.